Look closely at the cavernous, golden architecture of this freshly baked roll. It appears to be simple, rustic perfection. But under a macro lens, the reality of this structure shifts. We can see the microscopic gluten strands stretching and tearing, visibly strained by an unusually dense, heavy concentration of melted sugar crystals embedded deep within the dough. To our palate, this engineered sweetness registers as a subtle, comforting warmth, designed to trigger an immediate dopamine response. But to the Supreme Court of Ireland, those microscopic crystalline structures are not flavor. They are a massive financial liability. We watch hands rapidly assembling a sandwich on a bustling stainless steel preparation line. A familiar, trusted ritual of daily sustenance. For generations, society has recognized this specific baked good as the most foundational element of the human diet. Across borders and centuries, bread has been universally protected. It is categorized as an essential human right, shielded by governments from the standard taxation applied to luxury goods. We assume the warm roll sitting on this tray falls perfectly into that sacred historical category. The visual cues tell us it is bread. The golden crust, the soft crumb, the dusting of flour on the baker's hands. All of these elements lull us into a deep sense of everyday normalcy. It behaves like sustenance. It smells like sustenance. And it serves the exact biological purpose of a staple food. Yet, the truth of its identity is not decided by a baker, but by the rigid geometry of a tax code. Step onto the humid floor of a commercial bakery, and the illusion of simple, rustic tradition is immediately stripped away. Here, baking is not an art. It is a highly calibrated feat of chemical engineering. We observe towering, snow-like mountains of refined white wheat flour. Beside them, sacks of pure sucrose are torn open. The sugar is poured out, tearing through the fine flour with a coarse, abrasive hiss. This is the precise moment where biology meets industrial optimization. Watch the heavy steel hook violently knead the mixture. Water is introduced, activating the proteins while the sugar crystals dissolve into the matrix. This is not just a recipe, it is a commercial formula. The sugar is added specifically to accelerate the yeast, guarantee a uniform golden browning in the oven, and soften the final texture for maximum shelf stability. But there is an invisible line drawn entirely by sovereign law, hiding directly inside this vat of spinning dough. We look at a physical, industrial scale balancing the raw ingredients. According to the Value-Added Tax Consolidation Act, for this mixture to retain its tax-exempt status as staple bread, the weight of the sugar cannot exceed exactly 2% of the weight of the flour. We watch the needle on the mechanical scale hover near that absolute, critical legal threshold. Suddenly, the scale violently tips. Another heavy pour of sucrose floods the balance. The sugar content does not stop at 2%. It climbs to 5, then 8, settling heavily at 10% of the flour's weight. The formula has been perfected for maximum consumer dopamine release and rapid commercial production, entirely ignoring the physical boundaries set by the state. By crossing that invisible line, the dough has mutated. It has triggered a legal tripwire hidden inside the recipe. The warm, fragrant air of the bakery is instantly replaced by the cold, high-contrast lighting of a legal tribunal. We watch in slow motion as a fountain pen aggressively strikes out a line of text on a massive stack of corporate financial documents. The biological reality of the dough is completely irrelevant here. The state looks strictly at the raw, physical weight ratios. Because the sucrose exceeds that arbitrary 2% limit, the definition shatters. The government formally reclassifies the staple food of a global fast food empire. This single microscopic reclassification sends shockwaves through a massive corporate supply chain. We observe pallets upon pallets of frozen dough being loaded into shipping containers, their value fundamentally altered. By being stripped of the title of bread, every single roll becomes subject to standard taxation. A few extra grams of sugar transform into millions of euros in unexpected corporate liability. A minor chemical shift on the factory floor fundamentally rewrites the macroeconomics of a global food titan. So, what exactly are you holding when you unwrap your lunch at the drive-thru window? We watch a customer's hands gripping the warm, familiar sandwich. The camera pushes in close on the soft bun, resting gently against their fingers. It feels like bread. It tastes like the foundational essence of a meal. But because of a microscopic ratio engineered for efficiency and pleasure, the legal reality of what you are consuming has been entirely rewritten. You are not holding a sandwich. In the eyes of the law, you are holding a carefully engineered confection. We are left staring at the soft, golden crumb resting in the palm of a hand. In the modern, highly optimized industrial food chain, the line between essential sustenance and a taxable luxury is no longer defined by nature, tradition, or even our own senses. It is dictated entirely by raw weight, crystalline structures, and the heavy stroke of a bureaucratic pen. Ultimately, human bureaucracy possesses the absolute power to overrule natural chemistry,